Hey, it's me, ProJared, and welcome to the Eldritch Moon draft from Magic the Gathering Online. I'd already played through these drafts, but they were some of the best games of Magic I'd ever had that I wanted to share them with you guys because they were so good. I am playing a blue-green Emerge deck, and I was able to draft a lot of strong Emerge creatures, which is why I went down that route. Starting off, going up against Ancient Evil, who's playing green-white, so I'm going to expect a lot of humans out of him. My opening hand wasn't spectacular, but the reason why I kept it is because I had 2 forests, which is alright, and a turn 2 play with Noose Constrictor, which is a very strong card to start off with. Blocks any kind of flying, and I can discard stuff to block anything stronger if I need to. And if I can get a blue mana, then I'll certainly be set. Now going to turn 3, didn't get the blue mana though. So now it's me versus this Eternal Scourge, which could be trouble here. I think they got plenty of cards to discard to boost up the Noose Constrictor, should it happen, and he's going to attack with Eternal Scourge. Now I could block here, but I feel like it's early enough that I can soak 3 damage that I'm not going to be super concerned about it. And he gets his Moorland Drifter out. So he's already got the creature advantage. I did get another land, but it's a forest, can't do much with that. So he's certainly got the advantage here because I should not have kept this opening hand. I did, but I shouldn't have. Now this is where the game actually kind of glitches a little bit, because this is not how it's supposed to go. He's playing Somber Walled Stag, which makes it so that it's a 4/3 creature that comes into play, and he's going to fight target creatures. He's going to fight my Noose Constrictor. So like, okay, well, if you want to fight, then I'll trade out. So I discard cards until Noose Constrictor becomes a 5/5. So that when they fight, Noose Constrictor kills the Somber Walled Stag, and he's fine. Oh, I see what happened now. He chose not to have a fight anymore, which is... maybe I popped that ability too soon. Whatever. That was still upsetting. Still didn't draw any blue mana though, so not looking great for Jared. He's got the Apothecary Geist, which gives him the bonus life for having a spirit already in play. And he's got plenty of strong flying creatures. Well, again, still early enough that I can soak a hit, and I got a 4th forest. Still not great, but I can get the Tangled Claw Werewolf out, which allows him to block 2 creatures at once. So I can buy myself some time, pretty much. And he plays an additional Apothecary guy. So at this point, with this many flying creatures, I don't think I'm going to be able to stop him. But this is still just match 1. Yeah, and he comes in swinging with everything. And I'll have Tangled Claw Werewolf do a double block here, just to try to minimize damage as I boost up Noose Constrictor. I'm sorry, a single block on Tangled Claw. But I was able to clear 2 creatures off his board. And with one last force, I wound up able to stop his Apothecary Geist, aside from Noose Constrictor. So I'm running out of options quite quickly. I can drop the backwoods Survivalists, just to have an additional creature to block with. And if he attacks with the Apothecary Geist, I have to block the Noose Constrictor, and I have to discard a card to buff him up to take out that flying creature. And then he plays Emrakul's Evangel, which if he taps him, he can kill himself, plus any other creatures that he owns, to make them all into 3/2 Eldrazi Horrors. But I did draw Prey Upon, which is very, very useful, allowing me to use my Tangled Claw Werewolf to do his damage to the Emrakul Evangel, get rid of him before he can tap and use his ability. Still not in a good position to attack though. I'm at 1 life, I'm hanging on by a thread, but I am still in it. A single creature control card from him will end it for me. He's going to come in swinging, which is just bad news. So I have to block the flying, otherwise I'm dead. And I'll have Tangled Claw do the double block here because there's not much else he can do. And I'll buff up Noose Constrictor just to make him strong enough to kill Apothecary Geist. Which worked! But then he plays Watcher in the Web, a 2/5 reach that can block 8 creatures in a single turn. I still don't have any blue mana. And knowing that, there's no way I can stop him. I can't play any other creatures, and he can just attack with all and kill me. So with that, I ended the first game. I just conceded the first game. There's no way I could beat him, but I am going to come back in the next round, I swear. So knowing how he had played so many flying creatures, I did plan for that a little bit, and I went to my sideboard and I flashed in a little bit more to take care of flying creatures. Opening a hand here, actually pretty good for mana. I got green and blue. Don't have a play until turn 4, which isn't awesome, but I can last until turn 4. And I do have Unsubstantiate, which is a decent creature control spell here. Second forest down the field, not much there. Laboratory Brew is just a standard 3/3, which can help out with Delirium. One of the main reasons I kept this hand is because of Lashweed Lurker, one of my Emerge cards, which is very good and very, very powerful when played correctly. I'm just going to keep playing Forests because I haven't played any blue spells against this guy, and I want to keep the fact that I have blue in this deck a secret. So I'm just going to keep going Forests for now. I also managed to draw Enlightened Maniac, which will help me get some creatures on the board and have free blockers. Here we go. Now I play the Forest. And I'm going to put down that Laboratory Brute because that 3/3 can easily destroy his 2/2. And he's nowhere near Delirium, so it's not going to be flying yet. He plays Spectral Reserves, so he gets a bunch of flying 1/1 spirits. But I did notice that he missed a land drop, meaning he's only at 4 land, which does give me a little bit of an advantage here. So I'll play another Forest. And I'm going to use Prey Upon just to eat his Moorland Drifters, just so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Just get it out of here. And it still gives me plenty of mana to drop the Enlightened Maniac, which gives me 2 more creatures on the field. One of the best things about Enlightened Maniac is that he gives me that 3/2 Eldrazi, and then afterwards he's pretty much worthless, but he's a great candidate to use with Emerge. He takes away 4 casting costs. I've already got the Eldrazi Horror, and it's really easy just to use him as Emerge, which is what I'm probably going to do here. Now, he gets pretty aggressive. Comes in swinging with his 2 1/1 flyings, which he has the right idea because he has his 4/5 wolves, so he can easily block anything I swing at him right now. But that's not what I'm going to do. I am going to sacrifice that Enlightened Maniac so I can play the Lashweed Lurker, allowing me to pop back into his hand that Thornhide Wolves. Now the best part about, I'm sorry, it doesn't go back to his hand, it actually goes to the top of his library, and that leaves him open for a swing from both of my creatures, so I can deal him 6 damage, and suddenly we're tied. Now I hear a lot of people kind of complain about top of the library stuff, because a lot of people argue that, oh, you're not destroying it, you're not exiling it, so it's not that good. But the thing is, with putting that on the top of his library, that controls his tempo. Now I know he's just drawing that card again, which really limits his options. I know he's not getting land, I know he's not getting any kind of combat tricks or whatever, he's just getting his Thornhide Wolves again. So not only did I get rid of the wolves, I essentially forced him to waste a turn, and he can't get any kind of advantage from that. Now, oddly here, he stays aggressive and goes in swinging with his spirits some more, even though I could very easily overpower him quite quickly. Especially with his hand only going down to 2 and him missing so many land drops and not playing a whole lot from that. But I will get a lot of extra damage in here thanks to Unsubstantiate, allowing me to pop those Thornhide Wolves back to his hand. Which allows me to do a free swing with all of my creatures, dealing a whopping 11 damage, bringing him down to 5. And I know at this point, his best option from here is to once again cast his Thornhide Wolves, because he needs that big creature to stop the Lashweed Lurker. And if he attacks with his spirits, he's a fool, because he needs blockers at the moment. And he chooses not to block, which is good. And at the end of his turn, I'm going to cast the Swift Reach Spider, because he has Flash, allowing me to play him on an opponent's turn. And even with this, just this, I now completely outnumber his creatures, and I can just go and swing in with all. He can't stop all of them. And with 14 life still on the board, I am not too concerned about him doing him attacking back, because he has to block at this point. You see those trades there. I'll bring him down to 3. But just in case he gets any ideas, I will drop that Backwoods Survivalist, who does have Delirium, bringing up to a 5/4 trample. So I can easily stop anything else he sends my way. He plays Spectral Reserves again, getting more blockers and just a little bit more life to keep hanging on. And here comes back Emrakul's Evangel. Now I see what he wants to do here. He wants to sacrifice Emrakul's Evangel plus his spirits and turn his 1/1 spirits into 3/2 Eldrazi. But I got probably what is the best top deck in the world, and this is why I went blue-green Delirium, is because this was my very first pick in the first pack, and that's the Elder Deep Fiend. When he comes into play with Flash, you can tap up to 4 target permanents, and he happens to have 4 creatures, So I'm going to sacrifice that Swift Spinner. He's not going to help me much here. And play Elder Deep Fiend. Tap all of his dudes, which means he's completely open for attack, allowing me to bring him to -8. So even though the first match didn't go quite my way, I started getting my mana draws, I started getting my emerge creatures, so you can see the synergy and the power that comes through with this deck. But it's 1-1 in the first match. It's a best of 3 to move before we move on to the second round. Opening hand for this last round. I'm looking at this, I'm lacking mana, which is a bummer. But what makes up for it is I had that Primal Druid there, which is a great blocker. Having 3 toughness for 2 mana in this particular set is great because a lot of things have 2 power. Plus, when Primal Druid dies, I get a land out of it. So I am completely okay with this opening hand to keep, which I did, and I managed to draw a forest anyway. Plus, I have Stasis Scrutiny in case I need to do some extra creature control, which allows me to get a clue so I can pop that and draw a card if I need to. And I managed to draw Elder Deep Fiend this early, plus Lashweed Lurker was also in my opening hand. Another strong reason that I kept that. See, even with that, I'm already able to stop his Moorland Drifter. So any kind of early game harassment he could have done to me, I can easily stop. Shut up, phone. And on turn 3, anything I can do here? No, not really, that's fine. But yeah, come turn 4, trouble's gonna happen. Plus, the Primal Druid also is a great emerge candidate because, again, I can destroy it to get one of my emerge creatures out, and when it dies, I get that extra mana. I'm just going to go with the Laboratory Brute, though. And he responds by popping his Vessel of Ephemera so we can get some more spirits. He loves those spirits. And I've got a 3/3 in play. Plus, I've already got 3 card types into the graveyard, which means it's quite easy for me to set up Delirium at this point, which is awesome because I have Backwoods Survivalists in my hand. And he plays Apothecary Geist, and because he's got the other spirits, all spirits, he gets 3 extra life. He's really banking on this spirit game. I see what's going on here. Really banking on these spirits. And I can't do anything to block it for now. But I did draw a Prey Upon, a second one. Prey Upon is very strong creature control in Eldritch Moon here. But for now, I'm going to play Backwoods Survivalist just to get another 4/3 creature out. I'm going to take some more flying damage next turn, but again, early on in the game, I can take that damage. I'm still at 18. I've got plenty of health to play with yet. He comes in swinging for 4, which again, not too big of a deal. And then he plays Watcher in the Web, a very strong blocker because he's 2/5 and can block just a crap ton of creatures. But I've got just a thing for that. So this little trick here, I'm going to cast 1 Prey Upon so that my Laboratory Brute eats his Apothecary Geists and kills it. And with a sorcery going into my graveyard, I now have Delirium, giving my Backward Survivalist +1/+1 and Trample. And with that +1/+1, I can use that Prey Upon to eat his Spider, which gets rid of his 2 best creatures he's got at the moment. But with those guys injured, it's not worth me attacking at the moment, so I'm going to hold back until I can get around his Moorland Drifter. He plays the Slayer's Cleaver, which I see what's going to go on here. He's going to want to equip that onto one of his flying spirits. So one of his flyers is doing just a bunch of damage in the air. But I am going to make sure he never gets the opportunity to. So I'm going to cast Lashweed Lurker. And I'm going to sacrifice Primal Druid, of course, because that gets me the land. I got more than enough to cast Lashweed here. So let's get that land into play. And then I'm going to use Lashweed Lurker to actually pop back that Slayer's Cleaver. Because it costs 3 to cast and 4 to equip, I know he doesn't have the mana at the moment to do both in one turn. Which again, I can just use that to slow down his tempo. And with his only blocker being a 2/2, I know I can go in swinging without a whole lot of punishment here. He's only got 2 cards in his hand, so I'm not too worried about combat tricks. I feel like he would have done that earlier when I was using Prey Upon if he really wanted to save those creatures, and he didn't. So I felt pretty confident in going in with that attack there. Bring him down to 15, suddenly looking a lot more even. And once again, he plays Slayer's Cleaver because he really wants that out, and he really wants his spirits to be flying around doing a lot of damage. See, I'm getting just plenty of land in this game. I'm actually gonna go in. I'm gonna go in swinging with all, because even if he wants to kill just one of my creatures, he's gonna need to block with multiple at one. which is what he's going to do. He's going to try to stop my Laboratory Brute and use his 1/1 flying to stop my Lashweed Lurker. Now, I don't want to lose my Brute this early, and I've got the card, so why not? I'll use Jace's Scrutiny to give his Moorland Drifter a -4, -0, plus it allows me to get a clue. So I just wipe his board, and I've got a clue that I can just pop right away to draw an extra card, but also put down News Constrictor, just in case he gets any ideas. And at this point, he actually concedes the game because there's nothing else he can do. I just had way too strong of a board. I was able to take out and control everything that he had. And just in case he tried to do something sneaky, I had Elder Deep Fiend ready in the wing. So my first round didn't go too well for me, but the second 2 rounds I just absolutely dominated. Even though he's doing damage to me, that didn't matter because I had control of the board the entire time, and that's what really matters. But that was just the first round, and I'm going to go up into the second match against someone else who also won their first match, so we'll have a much closer fight. Let's go into that. Starting up match 2, I'm playing against Sinner, and I won the die roll, which is always a great way to start. Alright, so my opening hand here, I've only got 2 lands, which is a very, very familiar looking, but I do have a turn 2 play with Manic Scribe, which mostly is in here because he is a 0/3. His ability isn't super useful, and if I manage to draw just 1 more land, both Byway Courier and Uninvited Geist are both very strong, so I am going to end up keeping, just in case, and I do have Unsubstantiate in case things get out of control for me. So early on, I'm just going to drop those lands, get that Manic Scribe out there, and I've already got a decent blocker. At this point, though, since I didn't draw, my first draw was not a land, I'm a little bit of trouble, so unless I get another land, I will be in a lot of trouble. Nope, that's a Retrogryph. Another really good Emerge card, but not a land, which is bad for Jared, and I can't do anything that turn, which says to him that I'm in trouble. And he's going to press that advantage quite a bit. So he actually comes in swinging with his Ghoul Caller's Accomplice, and he's actually trying to call my bluff here. He's got all of his land untapped, and normally he'd think, well, he won't, if he thinks I got tricks, so he won't block. But it's just the Manic Scribe, I don't care about him, so I'll go with the block and call his bluff. And thankfully I do stop that extra harassment damage. And on turn 3, this dude plays Liliana, the Last Hope. One of the best cards in this set. So this early on, it's like extra danger for Jared. I did get my 3rd land though, so I'm going to get that Byway Courier out, because if he dies, I get a clue, which allows me to draw an extra card, which I kind of desperately need at this point. But just having that Liliana is going to ruin everything. Her +1 gives one of my creatures -2, -1 until his next turn. So my 3/2 Byway Courier is now a 1/1, practically worthless. I could block here and stop 2 damage and get a clue, but I kind of want to keep his board open so I can go and swing at Liliana and prevent him from getting that super deadly emblem, which ends games. If he gets his emblem, he wins. There's no way to stop it. But he also plays a Skursdag Supplicant, and there's no way I'm going to get past that for now, especially with how little land I'm getting. So I'm going to give him Aim High, which bosses him up to a 3/3. Not my smartest play, because I also have to use Prey Upon to kill that dude. I mean, that's a lot of cards just to take those out, but with him cleared out, I can go in and swing for 3 on Liliana. Ideally, I would have used Aim High to surprise block one of his creatures and deal extra damage to him that way. But I want to keep Liliana down and make sure he doesn't get that emblem. Still no lands, not great. So I'll get the News Constrictor out, which is a very strong blocker. And having more than 1 creature on the field means that she has more than 1 target, and she can only give one of them -2, -1 until end of turn. So at least one of them, just one of them, can come and swing in. Hopefully. But he plays the Kessig Forgmaster, which is quite the bummer because I have to be casting spells or it's going to be transformed into something extra mean. More importantly, if it blocks anything, it's going to do an extra damage to that creature, and giving something -2, -1 just spells danger. I'm up to 4 mana at this point. Still have a few options I can do. And I'm actually going to wait and just go and swing in first. And hope he blocks with something, which he does. And from here, I could use Unsubstantiate to kill the Ghoul Caller's Accomplice. But it doesn't kill him, so it just brings it back to his hand. But that doesn't help get rid of it, that just stalls. So I like to let the Bioware Courier die just so I can get that clue, because I just need cards at this point. I'm playing Emrakul's Influence here because I'm using that as a setup for Retrogryph. Because if I can get Retrogryph flying in there and just... there's no way he can stop that hitting Liliana. But he's now got that Neglected Heirloom equipped to his Kessig Forward Matcher, which is giving him just a little bit of a buff. And then if Kessig manages to transform, so does that Heirloom, and it's going to be just a whole kinds of danger. Now, unfortunately, my new Sway Constrictor is dead, and I no longer have anything to emerge with. So I just got to throw a creature out there and hope for the best. Which sucks because I'm also low on lands, so casting Uninvited Geist means I still can't pop my clue and draw a card that I very much need. Oh, I need a card so bad. Oh, and she casts Ever After, allows me to get 2 cards from her graveyard back. Now also zombies, and they're just dominating the board between Liliana, all these creatures. I am lacking mana. I'm gonna play that Retrogryph though, and thanks to the Retrogryph and Emrakul's Influence, I am going to draw a total of 3 cards. And look at that! Not one of them was a land. Just all kinds of danger. Now 3/4 is a decent blocker until Liliana makes into a 1/3. And come next turn, she's going to pop that emblem and just get a crap ton of zombies onto the board, and there's no way for me to stop all of them. Plus, she just made the Conduit of Emrakul transform along with the artifact, making it into an 8/7 first strike, and comes in swinging with all. And I pretty much concede at this point, because without me getting the land, even if I blocked something, there's no way I can stop him the next turn. This round did not go well for me, and him having a Liliana, really discouraging. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna win because Liliana is such a powerful card. But let's go into round 2. At least in round 2, I do get to play first. Taking a look at my opening hand, I've got 2 mana, a turn 2 play with Manic Scribe, 2 Prey Upon, which is again strong creature control, and the Enlightened Maniac at turn 4. Is this worth keeping? Probably not, but I did anyway because I'm stupid. I don't recommend this. I would try to get something with more lands in your hand or more creatures. A little bit of both ideally, but I ended up keeping. But I do at least have that Manic Scribe to have early game blocks with. Ooh, now draw the Elder Deep Fiend though. That makes up for it if I can get the land and the creatures to play them. Strap that Manic Scribe, forcing him to lose 3 cards from the top of their deck. Ooh, which is a lot of very strong creatures, so thank God for that. And he gets out Olivia's Dragoon, a very, very good card, especially with black-red, because this dude's definitely playing Madness. Which is why he's got so many discard creatures. I put down a 3rd land, can't do much else from there. And he's just coming swinging with Olivia's Dragoon. And I'm just going to block because, again, don't care about Manic Scribe a whole lot. If he does tricks, it's just getting him to waste trick cards on creatures that aren't with it. But he plays the Kindly Stranger, an excellent black card from Shadows over Innistrad. If he gets that thing transformed, yeah, I'm going to instantly lose a creature, and he has a 4/3. But that can't transform until it has Delirium. And that's something I'm going to remember. But I have 4 mana, allowing me to play the Enlightened Maniac, allowing me to get out my 0/2, plus a 3/2 Eldrazi Horror, which just lets me get creatures on the board. Now I've got extra blockers, plus a strong contender for Emerge and getting out that Elder Deep Fiend. He plays that Neglected Heirloom again, equips it to the Kindly Stranger. I see what he wants to do here. He wants to pay that 3 mana and get Kindly Stranger to transform, but he can't do that until he has Delirium, and right now he's only got 1 card type in his graveyard. Going on to my hand, I draw a Laboratory Brute, which is actually a decent creature. I'll throw that out there. And allows me to kind of get rid of some of the garbage from the top of my deck into that graveyard. That does include Grapple with the Past, which is a bummer, because Grapple with the Past is excellent. I usually combine that with Laboratory Brute, so I have plenty of options to grab land or creatures from. But again, right now, I am just trying to get creatures out, because I have 2 Prey Upons in my hand, and I want to use that to start ticking away the different creatures that he has. Now he actually moves the neglected heirloom over to his Conduit of Storms because Conduit of Storms is going to be easy to transform. All he needs is 5 mana, and he happens to have 5 mana. And he's nowhere near Delirium yet. I'm going to throw down my Backwoods Survivalist because he's a 4/3, which gives him just enough power to prey upon Conduit of Storms when it comes to that. So we're still at a standstill. We're going to turn 7. No combat damage has been dealt to players here. But now he's going to come in swinging with his Conduit of Storms. And again, early enough that I can just sacrifice that Manic Scribe. You're fine. You did exactly what I needed you to do. You can die. I'll stop whatever damage. Because I still have that Enlightened Maniac as a strong contender for Emerge. So rather than transform the Conduit of Storms with the Neglected Heirloom, he instead plays Dusk Feaster, which is just a very strong, very large flying creature. Now going back a turn, the reason why I let Manic Scribe die is because Manic Scribe is a creature. I didn't have a creature in my graveyard yet, so now I've got 3 card types in my graveyard. I'm going to cast 1 Prey Upon, and I have Laboratory Brute, Eat the Kindly Stranger. And with Sorcery in the graveyard, I now have Delirium. With Delirium, Backward Survivalist, now 5/4, which means I can once again cast Prey Upon, and have my Backward Survivalist eat his Conduit of Storms, getting rid of his Neglected Heirloom and his transformation capabilities. A lot of strong creature control there that I just had, and gave myself quite the advantage here. Now he still has a 4/5 flying, which is nothing to scoff at, but I have more creatures than him and he doesn't have blockers. So in an all-out slugfest, I would take the advantage here. So that's why he casts Ever After and brings back both of the creatures that I just killed. The Conduit of Storms and the Smoldering Werewolf, which was Manic Scribed earlier in the game, is now also out onto the field. So with 1 spell, he just brings his board right back up, and then he equips the heirloom back onto his Conduit of Storms. Once again, if he gets that transformed, he's just going to become a massive 8/7 first strike, and I don't know if there's much I can do about it. Unless I've got ideas. I'm not going to attack or anything yet. I'm just going to bide my time, because I am going to cast Elder Deep Fiend, and more importantly, I'm going to use that flash ability to prevent his attack this turn. Alright, he's going to cast Conduit. Yep, he's going to transform the Conduit of Storms, bringing it up to a 6/5, which causes Neglected Heirloom to transform. And in response, I'm going to pop out that Elder Deep Fiend and just tap everything he has. This is what I think of you attacking. Tap them all. All of them gone. And then he uses his Boon of Emrakul to actually take out my little Eldrazi creature just to control something on my side. I had a feeling he probably would use Boon of Emrakul on his Conduit of Storms, or his Conduit of Emrakul now, just to make him into 11/4 first strike, but thankfully I was able to do that to just get rid of something he had. Now since his board is tapped out, I am going to go in swinging for 13 damage here, which probably seems foolish. It is at first, but the thing is, I've got creatures to play. I'm going to throw out that Lamplighter of Selhoff, and since I have Laboratory of Brute still in play, which means I have a zombie, allow me to draw a card, but I have to discard one. And you know what? Forest is going to help me here, so I'm going to get rid of that forest. I need creatures at this point. But even just having this one blocker is all I need, because if he comes out swinging with everything, I can just have that one block and be able to stop him next turn. Which is why he's only going to attack with 2 creatures here. And obviously I want to stop. Oh wait, he's casting some more. It's a lot of mana. He's going to transform that werewolf into a 6/4. And you know what? I still got the life. I'll take the damage for now. Because now he is down to just 2 blockers. Just 2 blockers. And if I attack with everything, as it currently stands, if I attack with everything, he'll go down to 1. But, unfortunately for him, I drew a Lashweed Lurker, which is exactly what I needed to win this game, allowing me to sacrifice Lampite, put him out, bring Olivia's Dragoon back into his hand. You're down to 1 blocker. With only 1 blocker, you can't stop all of us. Even if you block the biggest creature, you're still going to take trample damage or 8 damage at the very least, allowing me to secure that win. This was a very close match, but thankfully that draw of Lashweed Lurker was exactly what I needed. My other plan was to use a Wretched Griff after attacking to bring him into play, draw a card, and have a untapped blocker. But I was able to very squeak by with this one. This was a very close match. I had a lot of fun with this one. But there's still one more round. Let's go into that one. Round 3 of match 2, Sinner is going to start my opening hand. Man, that's a lot of mana, but that's it. Those other 2 cards aren't going to help me, so that's not worth keeping. I am going to mulligan down to 6. And I got myself a turn 2 play, plus compelling deterrence, which allows me to control a little bit. And I've got the turn 4 with backward survivalist, plus that Lashweed Lurker. Lashweed Lurker has helped me win so many times. Looking at the top of my deck, it's a Prey Upon, not a land. I'm going to put that at the bottom. So once again, I got Manic Scribe here. Trusting Manic Scribe has been like my turn 2 play throughout. He throws out the Ghoul Caller's Accomplice. And I'm going to play that Manic Scribe, so I got a 0/3 blocker. And I'm going to get rid of the top 3 cards of his library, which is all 3 swamps. Oh man, dude, I hope he didn't need any lands because I just got rid of 3 of them. Oh, that could be really huge for me. And he plays the Brazen Wolves, another very strong creature card from Eldritch Moon here. It's a 2/3, but whenever it attacks, it becomes a 4/3, which is a lot of damage for a 3-mana creature, and I currently don't have anything to stop that with. But I'm getting plenty of mana draws. I'm just slowly building up my mana. And this early on in the game, I am okay with soaking some damage from the Brazen Wolves. He comes in attacking with both. Now I'll stop the 2/2 for now. 4 damage this early on, that's fine. I got plenty of time. Plenty of mana in my hand, plenty of creatures in my hand that I know I can get back and stop him. He plays Ulrich's Kind, which allows him to, it's just a 3/2 trample for him. I know he doesn't have any forests in his deck, so his extra ability is worthless to him. So I'm going to put down those backward survivalists, because as a 4/3, that's more than enough to stop Brazen Wolves, Ulrich's Kind, or even the Ghoul Caller's Accomplice. He's going to come in swinging with all 3 again. All of his lands are untapped, which means he could have combat tricks here. But I'm just going to try to kill our Ghoul Callers. And then he uses Galvanic Bombardment to deal an extra 2 damage to my backward survivalist, so we're going to end up trading there, bringing me down to 9. I still have a few things I can do here. I've got 5 mana put down. And you know what? Maybe it's a little early for that, but I don't think so. Let's sacrifice that Manic Scribe, tap all that mana, and throw down that Lashweed Lurker. And I'm going to use that to pop Brazen Wolves back into his hand because I want to stop him from being able to attack every turn. And once again, since I was able to get rid of 3 lands and he still only has 4 land out, I think he might be in land trouble. And with the Brazen Wolves in the top of his deck, I know he's not going to draw anything super useful. Plus, I still got extra tricks in my hand for when he plays them again. And look, he played them again. Shocker. I was just with that one play, the Lashweed Lurker, I now have control of this board. So I'm going to come in swinging with the Lashweed Lurker. Not too concerned here. Now he could double block, but I've got tricks for that just in case. And he ends up taking the damage, which is probably the smarter play because he has got the creature advantage, he's got the life advantage, he can take the damage. So my response is, all right, I'm gonna put down the Noose Constrictor. That way I also have a blocker because I don't want to get killed by anything that you're attacking with. And he goes in swinging with both. I actually have a couple of options here on how I want to handle this because I could easily get rid of both. And oh, surprise, aim high. I'm gonna put down the Lashweed Lurker, making him into a 7/6. I'm going to use him to block, baby. I'm going to eat those Brazen Wolves, and I'll use Noose Constrictor to trade out with Ulrich's Kindred, wiping his board, but I still have Lashweed Lurker afterwards. Now, he does a good response here. He actually plays Dissension in the Ranks, which is going to cause the Noose Constrictor and the Lashweed Lurker to fight each other before the blocks, which would end up killing Lashweed Lurker and Noose Constrictor, and he would have control of the board. Now I want that, so I'm actually going to use Compelling Deterrence to bring Noose Constrictor back into my hand, fizzling his spell, allowing Lashweed Lurker to eat his Brazen Wolves. And now he's tapped out, and I still got that Lashweed Lurker. Allow me to do another free 5 damage to him, bringing him down to 10. And I've got all this mana in my hand. Yeah, let's throw down all my creatures. Look at that, I got blockers. Now I'm just going to start outnumbering this guy. Now he's going to use Midnight Scavengers, which is a 3/3, and when they come into play, he can draw out another creature from his graveyard with mana cost 3 or less, so he's just desperate for creatures at this point. But just straight up outnumber him. And I'm going to press that advantage for sure. For sure press that advantage. We're just going to swap out News Constrictor for Alric's Kindred, bringing him down to 3. And with the play of the Byway Courier, I once again have that creature advantage. So unless he plays down 2 creatures in 1 turn, which I don't think he can do, he's got 3 cards in his hand. I know at least one of them is. He comes in swinging with the Midnight Scavengers. You know what? I will gladly block the Byway Courier. We'll trade out. Difference is, I get a clue, which allows me to draw a card. And you know what? At this point, he knows he can't do anything. He ends up conceding to me. Wasn't looking great for me at that moment. But once again, that Lashweed Lurker just gives you so much control. Allows you to control any game you want. I'm such a fan of this card. I love it. And that allows me to take the second match. I am now 2-0. 2-0. I've never gone 3-0 in a draft before, either online or in real life. The best I've ever done is 2-1-1. But if I can go 3-0, that'd be so exciting. So I'm already 2. I beat the dude who had Liliana, who only got to play it once. I got rid of his 3 swamps, so suck it, dude. Let's go into match 3. Match 3 versus Crintoninator. We are both 2-0 at this point in this Eldritch Moon draft. My opening hand. Oh, Elder Deep Fiend's so good, but I only have a single island. That's not worth keeping. Now I got 4 lands I prey upon and a Grapple with the Past. I don't have any creatures, but Grapple with the Past will help me get that creature. So this is actually a great opening hand to go with, especially after mulliganing down to 6. And with the prey upon at the top, I've already got one in my hand, so let's put that at the bottom of my deck. He opens up with a Swamp. So once again, their person playing black, which is odd because black was considered one of the weaker colors in the Eldritch Moon set, but he's going to be playing black-red, so I'm going to expect a lot of vampires and a lot of madness. And the Fury Blade Vampire is one of the stronger ones to do that with. You can easily make it into a 4-2 trample, plus set himself up for madness. And I was able to draw that Lashweed Lurker. He's back, baby. So I'm going to pass the turn to him. I'll let him attack and press whatever advantage he has. Which is just 1 damage for now. He doesn't want to discard anything. He doesn't play anything at all. He actually missed a land drop, which is huge for me. So I'm going to use Grapple with the Past so I can get back. It discards the top 3 cards of your deck, and you can get a creature or land back from your graveyard. And I'm going to get back Backward Survivalists. And with that 4 mana in my hand, that is the perfect draw that I needed. So he was able to play a 3rd land. And he plays Strange Augmentation to further beef up his Fury Blade Vampire. And he discarded a Swamp to go and swing with it. Bizarre that he discarded a Swamp this early on, so unless he only has one other card in his hand, it must be a creature or a low spell or something, but he's not getting the draws that he needs. So, going into my turn 4, naturally, I'm going to put down those Backward Survivalists. So even if he comes in swinging with his Trample, I can block and we'll end up trading creatures. He'll get a little bit of trample damage, but it's not worth at the moment, so he goes on the defensive. Now, I've got plenty of options here. In fact, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to use Prey Upon with my Backward Survivalist and just eat his augmented Fury Blade Vampire, clearing out his board. And that also, with the Prey Upon, thanks to it being a sorcery, causes Delirium to happen on my Backward Survivalist so I can get an instant 5 damage back onto him, and suddenly we're looking a lot more even. He does nothing on his turn. Ooh, that's rough. That is rough for you, buddy. I'm going to go and swing with the Backward Survivalist again. And then I'll actually pass the turn, because dealing that free 5 damage, not worth emerging at the moment. But he puts on the Fury Blade Vampire, another one. He must have just draw that one. It happens. And at the end of his turn, I'm going to use the flash ability of Swift Spinner. Just flash in an extra creature. To attack with? No, not really. Rather to sacrifice, so I can bring in that Lashweed Lurker and bring that Fury Blade Vampire back onto the top of his deck. Because if he hasn't been able to cast anything else, a Fury Blade Vampire isn't going to save him now. Get that extra 5 damage in with the Backward Survivalists. And unless he pulls out something crazy, I don't think he's going to be able to stop both of these guys come next turn. And he doesn't, which is why he actually concedes the game. So the first round ends up going to me. Not the... I had a mulligan down to 6 was a bummer, but thanks to Grapple with the Past, really just Grapple with the Past and being able to get that backward survivalist, it really allowed me to turn the game around and set up easy delirium. So even if you take damage early on, it's really not that big of a deal so long as you play your cards right. That's round 1. Let's go to round 2. My opening hand for round 2. Very familiar looking. Once again, only got 2 mana. But I do have a Grapple with the Past. Plus with Retrogryph, backward survivalists, I should be able to draw into the mana. I don't. My first draw ends up being good old Lashweed Lurker, but man, he just keeps popping up, which is so glorious for me. But between him and Retrogryph, I got a couple of decent emerge cards. I just gotta get to that 4 mana mark so I can throw down the backward survivalists. That's my best goal at the moment. And thankfully I can use Grapple with the Past to make sure that it happens. Unless there's a really good creature in those 3 that get discarded, I'll end up taking the land with Grapple with the Past. So at the end of his turn, I am going to do just that. Cast that spell, looking at it, and oh no, there is no land getting discarded. But there is an Elder Deep Fiend, and I will take the Elder Deep Fiend. Alright, round 2, still no land though. And in fact, there's so many cards in my hand, I have to get rid of one. And I end up getting rid of the Lamplighter because of all the cards. He's one of my weaker ones. And at this point, getting to 5 mana is going to be way harder just getting to 4. And he throws down the Haunted Dead, allowing him to get extra creatures out onto the field. He's going to press that advantage with the Fury Blade Vampire. Discards a Swamp to make it into a 4/2. And I'm going to use Jace's Scrutiny to give him -4/-0 until end of turn, plus a clue. And I can use that clue, pay 2 mana to draw a card off of it, which I will need at this point. Oh, I did get a mana though. I'm up to 3 mana, baby. What can I do with 3 mana? Nothing? Shit. Alright, well, at least I've got enough mana to activate the clue if needed. Alright, he's going to Strange Augmentation his Spirits. Now he's got 2/2 flying. He discards Abandoned Reason, which has Madness. He's going to play the Madness cost to make his Spirit into a 3/2 first strike, and because he discarded, he also has a 5/2 Fury Blade Vampire. He's going to be coming in and swinging for 10 damage. Ooh. I'll use a clue and draw a card. Oh, it's an island. That's fine. I'll take land. I'm okay with that. Ooh, 10 damage is nothing to scoff at though. Alright, put down that island, up to 4 mana. I've got a 5th mana in my hand. Let's get those backwoods survivalists out. I do have 3 card types in the graveyard at the moment. I've got sorceries, and instants, and a creature. But unless I get a land or something in there, I won't be able to activate Delirium. So this dude has a huge advantage at the moment. In fact, he's going to keep pressing that. Swings with the Fury Blade Vampire and the Spirit. I can't block that Spirit. It's another 6 damage. This is risky, but I'm not even taking that 6 and go down to 4. Now what I'm hoping is, up to 5 mana, what can I do here? Alright, I'm going to use Prey Upon to eat his Fury Blade Vampire. Just get rid of him. We'll get rid of him. And then I will use my good old Lashweed Lurker after sacrificing the backward survivalist and bring him out. And I'm actually going to take his Spirit token. I'm going to put that back in the top of his deck. But because it's a token, it doesn't go to the deck. It gets destroyed. Which means that board that he was controlling is now completely even. And I've got myself a 5/4 to block his 2/2. Which is exactly what I needed. So now I can stop everything he has. I've got aim highs, I got byway couriers. I can start swinging back. It's exactly what I needed. And he plays Certain Death, which destroys Lashweed Lurker. I lose 2 life, he gains 2 life. I've got nothing to stop him. He can attack with his Haunted Dead and he wins. So, because he had Certain Death to stop the Lashweed Lurker, he was able to win this round. I could have turned it around, but he only needed 1 creature control card, and he had one of the better ones out of Eldritch Moon. So I end up losing round 2 because I kept a hand I really shouldn't have. Ugh. But that means we're going to round 3 of match 3. Hopefully round 3 allows me to start with a better hand than I did before. Now let's take a look here. Well, I've got that Primal Druid and I've got Grapple with the Past. And a lot of green cards in my hand. It's just good enough. Normally I wouldn't, but Primal Druid with Grapple with the Past will help me guarantee the mana that I need, so I am going to keep this hand. Especially with my hand being very green dominant and having 2 forests, I'm not as concerned with getting blue mana to throw down Laboratory Brute. So let's throw down Primal Druid. And we're going to see a familiar face here. Falcon Wrath Reaver, nothing special about that, just a 2/2, which is just enough for my Primal Druid to stop. And I drew a land, which allows me to play the Woodland Patrol, which is actually that's an alright 3 mana card. 3/2 Vigilant, allows me to attack every turn. And he's actually going to come in swinging with his Falcon Wrath Reaver, which to me says he's got tricks, which I'm okay with, because I want to use that Primal Druid to block. And he's going to cast Abandoned Reason to make it into a +1/+0 and first strike, which just kills the Primal Druid, which was such a waste of a strong card. All it did was get rid of my Primal Druid, and I get a mana out of that. All he did was increase my tempo. That was a mistake on his point. That was not... That's not worth doing to me. That is not worth doing. So now that I have 4 mana, and he's tapped out, I will use my Woodland Patrol to get a free 3 damage in there. And then I'm actually going to play Laboratory Brute first. And when he comes into play, 3 of my top 4 cards of my library go into the graveyard. And you can see down to the graveyard that's a Forest, Enlightened Maniac, Lashweed Lurker, and Contingency Plan. And he's going to Strange Augmentation his Falcon Wrath Reaver and bring it into a 3/3 and attacks with it. And to me, I'm like, well, it's early enough for 3 damage, that's fine. Do you have another creature? No, you don't? Alright, well, now I know I can attack and hit you for 6. So, thanks to Laboratory Brute putting the top 4 cards of my library into the graveyard, that's actually a great setup for this future combo here. Well, I'm going to hit him for 6 first because I don't know why I did that. I'll throw down the Emrakul's Influence, so if I manage to emerge out an Eldrazi spell, I'll get an additional 2 cards. And then I'm going to use Grapple with the Past, which puts the top 3 cards in my library, and then I can get a land or a creature. So thanks to Laboratory Brute already putting 4 cards in there, I have plenty of cards to choose from. Lots of land here, but look, we all know what I'm going to take. I'm going to take that Lashweed Lurker. Yeah, I think I'll take that Lashweed Lurker. And you know what? Let's use that Lashweed Lurker right now. I'm going to use that, bring Falcon Wrath Reaver to the top of his library, which makes his Strange Augmentation enchantment go to the graveyard, which also activates Emrakul's Influence. I draw 2 more cards, and your board is wiped, and I'm going to hit you with my 3/2 Vigilance. And he still only has 3 mana in his hand. So once again, he throws down a surprise Falcon Wrath Reaver. And that's all he's casting, which again just says to me that he doesn't have a whole lot of options at the moment. And I'm just going to use Prey Upon, have my Lashweed Lurker, eat his Falcon Wrath. And then he's going to use Borrowed Hostility to quick give his Falcon Wrath Reaver +3/+0 until end of turn. Bring him to a 5/2. So he's going to eat my Lashweed Lurker. Not on my watch. I will use the flash ability of Spontaneous Mutation. And thanks between Laboratory Brute and Grapple the Past, I have plenty of cards in my graveyard. Bring him down to a -7/2. Hey, I'm just gonna nom nom nom, eat that up. And your board is wiped, your mana is tapped out. Go and swing in. Ba-bam, 8 damage here. And with that, I go 3-0. I finally went 3-0 in a draft. That was so exciting for me. I've never done it before. I got my victory prizes was 2 Eldritch Moon boosters, 1 Shadows over Innistrad booster, and 1 Pro Tour qualifier point. Online qualifier point, but that was exciting. Man, these were some very close matches, a lot of back and forth, a lot of really cool plays. I had such fun with these matches, and I really enjoyed playing them, which is why I wanted to share with you guys. And I hope this was maybe something that you enjoyed. If you did, please let me know, because if you want more of it, I will do more of it. I love playing Magic. If you didn't like it or you found it too bored, also let me know. That's fine too. As always though, thank you guys so very much for watching. See you next time! And he plays the Shield of the Avatar Artifact, which is an equipment which when placed on a creature prevents damage equals to the amount of creature left. Ah, yes, you're right, Megasandrus. That